So today we're going to read the story of Possum Magic by Mem Fox and illustrated by Julia Vivas. Group 1, you're going to be counting how many times Grandma Poss occurs on the page. Group 2, you're going to be looking out for Hush. Group 3, you're going to be looking for the word magic. And Group 4, you're going to be looking for koala. Once upon a time, but not very long ago, deep in the Australian bush lived two possums. Their names were Hush and Grandma Poss. Grandma Poss made bush magic. She made wombats blue and kookaburras pink. She made dingoes smile and emus shrink. But the best magic of all was... the magic that made Hush invisible. What adventures Hush had! Because she couldn't be seen, she could be squashed by koalas. There's a koala. Because she couldn't be seen, she could slide down kangaroos. There's another koala. Because she couldn't be seen, she was safe from snakes, which is why Grandma Poss had made her invisible in the first place. But one day, quite unexpectedly, Hush said, "Grandma, I want to know what I look like. Please, could you make me visible again?" "Of course I can," said Grandma Poss, and she began to look through her magic books. I hear the word magic. She looked into this book and she looked into that. There was magic for thin and magic for fat and magic for tall and magic for small. But the magic she was looking for wasn't there at all. Make sure you're ticking when you see your character. Grandma Poss looked miserable. "Don't worry, Grandma," said Hush. "I don't mind." But in her heart of hearts, she did. All night long, Grandma Poss thought and thought. The next morning, just before breakfast, she shouted, "It's something to do with food. People food, not possum food, but I can't remember what. We'll just have to try and find it." So later that day, they left the bush where they'd always been to find what it was that would make Hush seen. I can see Grandma Poss. They ate Anzac biscuits in Adelaide, Mornay and Minties in Melbourne, steak and salad in Sydney, and pumpkin scones in Brisbane. Hush remained invisible. "Don't lose heart," said Grandma Poss. "Let's see what we can find in Darwin." It was there in the far north of Australia that they found a Vegemite sandwich. Grandma Poss crossed her claws and crossed her feet. Hush breathed deeply and began to eat. "A tail! A tail!" shouted both possums at once, for there it was, a brand new visible tail. Later on a beach in Perth, they ate a piece of pavlova. Hush's legs appeared. So did her body. "You look wonderful, you precious possum," said Grandma Poss. "Next stop, Tasmania." And over the sea they went. In Hobart, late one night, in the kitchen of the casino, they saw a lamington on a plate. Hush closed her eyes and nibbled. Grandma Poss held her breath and waited. It's worked, she cried. And she was right. Hush could be seen from head to tail. Grandma Poss hugged Hush, and they both danced. Here we go round the Lamington plate till early in the morning. There's Hush, there's Grandma Poss, make sure you give them a tick. And look, here they are again. From that time onwards, Hush was visible, but once a year on her birthday, she and Grandma Poss ate a Vegemite sandwich, a piece of pavlova, and half a lamington, just to make sure that Hush stayed visible forever. There's the koala. And there's Hush and Grandma Poss. And she did. The end.